We say ego is a limitation. We say small self and capital self are different. We say wherever there is a boundary line, there is ego. What comes first, the ego or the boundary line? We don't know. But what is certain is where there is one, there would be the other. Right? Where there is a boundary, where there is a distinction, there would be ego.
I think that only distinction isn't enough. Something else must be added, namely that you are placed on one side of this distinction. Not only A is different of B, but you put your stakes on B or I.
You must have something to do with
yes,
A or B.
Then,
Yes,
then it is called real distinction. This is,
of course.
if I said judgment.
Yes, you're correct. Now, there is God. The capital self. There is a small self. And because one is capital, one is small, there is a boundary line. And you are obviously involved. To talk about the point that you made, you are obviously involved because we are talking of the self. You are the self. So you are involved. You have a stake here. So there is the self, there is a small self. Now, is the distinction there because there are two selves? Or is the other self there because we are randomly drawing a distinction? I mean, yes, we know ego, we know its perverse forms, effects, all the suffering that it gives. But who limited it? What was the first limitation? Where was the first boundary drawn? Can we go back into man's consciousness? Can we go back into the evolution of thought, language, and find out when was the first boundary drawn?
Very important. Very important.
And once one boundary is drawn, then infinite number of other boundaries will come up. Sir, what was the first boundary in man's consciousness? Tell me.
Between my body and probably my body and what is inside or my and outside.
And outside.
Yes, so-called
And
outside.
the outside appeared so large that, Dushan, what did man do with nature? The outside, the sun, the moon, the stars, the clouds, the rain, the outside appeared so large that man immediately made them into. Do you see that the very first distinction has something to do with the subject at hand? Huh?
With possibility
Krishnamurti continuously kept talking of the wrong turn that mankind had taken. He would keep saying mankind somewhere took a wrong turn. Mankind somewhere took a wrong turn. And if we give ourselves to this matter, is this not where mankind took a wrong turn? And is continuously persisting with that wrong turn. walking down the same wrong road.
Like a food. So, those
But the small children, they don't have differences.
They don't have differences.
Simply, even they don't feel differences between his body, their body, and so-called outside. They see, in a sense, they feel the moon like a part of themselves.
Yes. Except in...
And by 1 year, I don't know, all they differentiate
Yes.
outside.
Not in a psychological sense,
Yeah.
but in a biological sense, they do feel a difference in the sense that pleasure and pain
They feel that. So that feel, yes.
that they feel, and they would not feel pleasure and pain if somebody strikes their cradle. But if somebody strikes their leg, they would feel pleasure and pain.
From then, that
So,
comes the difference.
So to that extent, they feel the difference.
If
But-
mankind has not taken the wrong turn, would mankind have continued till now? Would it have survived till now?
Not mankind as we know it. Not mankind as we know it. You see, to believe that you are distinct in a physical sense is all right. You are, in a physical sense, separate from the rock. If somebody hits the rock, you won't bleed. So, in that physical sense, the fact is you are separate. But when Krishnamurti is talking of the wrong turn, he never makes clear, never, what that wrong turn is. I want to talk about that. It is the mental separation. And God is the mental separation. God is the mental separation of man from existence. Physically, yes, of course. If you have a running nose, I don't need a handkerchief. But this mental separation, what is mental separation? What is it to see yourself as conceptually separate from the other? What is that?
Identification.
Hmm?
Identification.
You start saying, I am this, I am that. That is the wrong term.
You have to start language in a sense
Yes, of course.
to do that.
Yes, yes.
You have to have logical space.
Yes,
of
yes,
thought,
yes, yes.
to be in the logical space.
Yes. And again, the thing that you were talking with. Is there God without language?
This is interesting question. Very interesting. Hard to say. Yeah. For example, singing. Even if using words, singing isn't necessary that it is in logical space. Yes.
Can words capture anything except that which can be captured in words? I'm asking, if you are referring to something as singing, and singing is a word, immediately that now which you are referring to, has that not become another word? Can words describe anything that is not a word? Can words describe anything that is not a word? So the moment you say, there is singing without words, is it not a contradiction?
Singing without words.
You just said that.
But there is singing without words.
No, the moment you say it is singing, then what is happening is words. Otherwise, you couldn't have called it singing. Singing is a word, song is a word.
This isn't clear. For example, there are some tribes, rare tribes,
Okay.
who have very strange form of
It will become
speaking,
clear, sir.
singing and so on.
It will become clear. Do
Yeah.
those tribes call it song? The tribes who
Yes.
just emit some sounds and mellifluous, melodious, all right. But do they call it a song?
I will give you an example. This is so strange that they can start, for example, a so-called sentence with words and finish with whispering, or immediately changing, whispering in words or opposite in any more possible order.
The idea, sir, is this that
It is very, very funny to hear that.
No.
words,
Regular speaking is like singing. Even that is really singing, really whispering.
No. They are doing all that. But are they calling it a
I
song?
don't know how they call that. I'm not sure.
Are
they
they
call this speaking. They speak so. This is their kind of making usual language.
So then it is language.
Yeah, it's a language.
Then it is again language.
Yeah, it is a language. Yes, it is a language. Yes.
that when words arranged, organized in a particular way, put into a rhythm, when meter and etc. are taken care of, then words can possibly exceed themselves. So this is the premise of music. This is the premise of the entire musicality being injected into words. That words are
That is the premise. That is the thing that will happen. But what is the thing that you are calling as music?
This is
There is something. There is something that is entering your ear, right? There is something. And then you are calling something as music. Are these two the same?
no, definitely not same,
Not same.
but not totally different.
No. If not same, then different. What do you mean by not totally different? The moment you can express something through a word, that thing too is merely a word. That which really is, for that, from where will you bring a word? Concepts, basics. Concepts express only concepts. What is the definition of a concept? A concept is something that depends on another concept for its definition. A concept is something that has no independent existence.
true.
To define a concept, you need another concept.
Net of concepts.
It's a net of concepts resting upon nothing. So the moment you say something is music, you have entered that net. And there is nothing called partial entry in that net. Once in, you are in. That is what I am calling as the wrong turn. Entering that net of thinking that reality can be substituted by language. You see, you and I are meeting. And what are we, when we say we are talking, what are we doing? What is happening here right now? What is the fact of this gathering?
We are exchanging
Are,
concepts.
we are exchanging concepts, sir. We are not hugging, we are not embracing. We have not gone naked. We are presenting concepts against concepts. This is the wrong turn. Man is not meeting man. Heart is not meeting heart. Words are meeting words. This is what language does. Now see what happens when two dogs meet. At least they rub their noses against each other. Here there is only words rubbing against each other. Nothing real at all. And this started. Okay, let's forget it. Okay, let's say it. They started with God.
What is word according to Bible?
Hmm?
What is word? Primary word. It's logos. No?
Uh-huh. Even
According to Bible.
even the Rigved says the same thing. The Shabd.
Shabd, yes, that's true.
The whole thing comes from the Shabd.
Shabd, yes. It's quite same.
So the word.
You can call something wrong only when there is a possibility that anything else could have also happened. So, was man supposed to be something else? Only on that we can call it a wrong term. Otherwise, if it was supposed to be this only, then this is the term.
If man was supposed to be this only, then why do you want to become something else? Your very movement to become something else proves that you were not destined to be this only. All the time you are trying to be something else. At the same time, you are not sure whether we were supposed to be this only. Three days of this camp. What more than words? What more than words? And just as from the child's mouth, the first word is Ma, mother. Similarly, from mankind's mouth, the first word is God. What more than words? And if there is anything more than words, I hope there is, then that is not a word. Huh? Physically, the first thing you are bothered with, physically, the first word is Ma. Mentally, the first word is God. And then there is just a barrage of words. Yes. Isn't it wonderful that you have the Vedic literature, at the end of which are the Upanishads? The Veds talk a lot about God. The Upanishads avoid, but they still talk of Brahm. And then from the Upanishads arises Zen. And in Zen, there is neither God, nor Brahm, nor Atma, nothing of the kind. There is just observation. Just observation. No God. Show me one reference to God in the entire Zen literature, and I'll be astounded.
Kill him when you meet him.
That's exactly what I'm saying. He's so damn evil that you need to kill him when you meet him. That's a Zen koan. Kill him when you meet him. They say Buddha, but that Buddha there is nothing but God. And so you need to really kill. You won't meet him accidentally, for you are carrying him in your pocket.
Yeah, you have to kill also your own mind.
Is there mind? Is there mind without God? And if there is no God without language, and if there is no mind without words, don't we see the relation between mind and God?
Sure. Quite sure.
And sir, it is interesting that those people, those minds that are very much obsessed with the God, are the ones who easily get obsessed with anybody and everybody, with film stars, with celebrities. Yesterday we were talking about self-doubt, that we don't love ourselves. Certainly, this wrong turn has led to this. That when you turn towards the sun, you forget your own body. That you forget, how worthful you yourself are. When you are fascinated by how mighty the sun is, you forget your own might, no matter how little it is.
How
It is-
did mankind take this neutral?
You see, we say our senses look only outwards. Why do senses look outwards? Because outwards there are attractive things, right? Nice food, nice sweets, nice breeze, nice woman, nice man, something. Whenever there is something attractive outside, then you will look. What if the big daddy himself is outside? Then you will definitely always keep looking. When a little piece of sweet is outside, then you cannot rest within. Then you are continuously looking outside. But what if the big daddy himself is outside? Now what will you do? Now what will you do?
It is a very interesting sentence by Wittgenstein. He said in some notebook, I don't know where, that I'm not a Christian, but I cannot help me to look on everything from the Christian standpoint.
That one must do, because unless one does that, one will not realize why things have come to this.
And it is common, in fact, only seen that all the sane minds, be it Bertrand Russell, Osho, anybody, they have had disgust with this externalization of God, with this fact that we are obsessed with the sun. Sheer disgust.
See, sun or the word, don't differentiate between them. If you have disgust with the sun, then you should also have disgust with the word.
Word.
Word. Which word?
Sun.
Are you getting it? Sun is big. Then there is the word that stands for big. Which is the word that stands for bigger than the biggest? Huh? Huh?
Oh, but it will be very good if you make maybe one camp that everyone will at least one day maybe or the whole camp look at everything outside as himself.
Yes.
and then write a note.
You know, when we were dancing yesterday, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so it's okay. It's better if you come to it yourself. It may happen wherever that when you are suddenly jerked into normal human consciousness, the consciousness that has come from society and worlds and evolution, that when you jump into normal human consciousness, you have to try to find yourself. Where are you? So there are the cows, there are the stones, there is the small stream, there is the large stream, and it's also finely settled and balanced that you are gone. And then somebody says, sir, they are all there. And then for that brief instance, you have to find yourself that in all this, where are you? You know, you get a glimpse of what life without mental separation can be. So there is this gathering, there is the tea, there is all this, all the items that are physically separate, and we cannot help that because that is the very biological wiring. We will have to look at things as physically separate, and the ultimate test of that is death. We die separately and we are born separately. So that has to be, that cannot be an illusion. But mental separation, this mental separation as in, here we are, there is tea, there is me, and when do I feel the most myself? When I have to later on find out where am I. When there is no mental separation. When after the thing is over, then I am brought back to the hall. So it is as if you have woken up from a dream. Now you are a normal human being. Now you are mentally separate. The dream is over. The dream is over. Now you are again mentally separate from everybody. It can also happen if something hits your body and there is a little bit of pain. Again, that can happen. But while physical separation is a fact, a necessity, my premise is that mental separation is very much man-made. And when it comes to man-made limits, the first limit man imposed was upon himself. How? By talking of something else as limitless. That is limitless.
I put that question on that question, just that I put that what I said. If you switch your attention, then at least very, very profound or maybe very useful hint can come to you. So you don't, from that experience, you do not You must not take yourself so much serious as before.
Yes, but you know, what is the beginning of seriousness? Go back to all these. What is the beginning of seriousness? What is it that you must not take casually? What is it that really offends you when taken casually? Sir, what is it that you simply, when I said the evil patronizes God, did you see how something within reacted? What is it that you just can't take casually? Huh? Everything else can be made fun of, played around with, but don't mess with that. What is that?
It's just the preservation of I.
So, is that not the beginning of seriousness?
Yes.
Is that not the most serious thing about us? Oh, all right, the name of the God may vary. Huh? The name of the God may vary. But is that not the beginning of seriousness? I mean, is seriousness intrinsic to human beings? Is seriousness intrinsic to human beings? Is seriousness intrinsic to anything in existence? Are we all not playful and a little defiant by nature? When I speak of surrender, I have to be so very careful to keep repeating that surrender is an expression of freedom. Remember that quote, do not surrender your freedom, surrender in freedom. Otherwise, when man talks of surrendering to the big one, is that not a limit? And then we say ego thrives on limits. What we traditionally call as surrendering, is that not a thickening of the ego? For ego is boundary.
But on the other side is also contact. It is impossible to be there is some ego without some you. It's I and you, or T. This is a primary part. As with another side is this division, I and not I. This is division. This is distinction. On the other side is connection. Primary connection. Primary pair. I, you, mother.
You know, sir, it is quite
Mother.
instructive to see animals dying a natural death.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen an animal die a natural death?
Yes, yes.
A dog, maybe a horse or something. Huh? You observe it and then you try to figure out where is that I that should feel the pain. The rabbit or the dog dies away with minimal pain. Some amount of physical pain can be there, but hardly any mental pain is evident. It passes away just like a wave merges in the river. So I want to ask, is this I intrinsic to living? The animal does not think of death when he is alive, and when he is dying, he simply dies.
Yes, it's very good.
His death is not at all painful, provided you are not torturing him. If you're torturing him, that is another matter. But there is no mental pain as such. He's not thinking of a heaven or a hell. He's not thinking of who he's leaving behind. He's not thinking of any unfinished agenda. If man cannot die properly, Instead of eternal life, won't it be better if we were prepared to die any instant?
This is true. I agree completely. Completely. Yes.
Huh?
Theodore Adorno said once, he was asked, is it a life after the death? He asked, okay, it's not important. What is more important is a life before death.
So normally, for any sort of any positive direction in society, every wrong directions are there. As you are saying that we should be prepared for death any instance, at any instant. In fact, there is a temple in Madhya Pradesh where people visit. It's a Mahakal temple for so that they do not get any untimely death. So, so in fact, instead of a positive thing, negative things are there so that you do not get any untimely death if you visit such temple.
Somebody had come to Nisargadatta and he talked of somebody's death. He said, it was probably like this. I could not come because he had died. And what does Maharaj have to say on his death? Somebody must have died. Nisargadatta says, good. Needlessly, he was living and suffering. Good relief for him. Good relief. What great accomplishment is there in continuing to live?
Sir, I saw one peasant dying naturally. He just came and sat in a corner, and he was so content, like nothing. And he tried to get some water or something, so he simply refused. He didn't take anything. The next day he passed away. And there were other pigeons also, so they were not just bothering that some other fellow pigeon is dying. They were busy eating their and drinking their thing. And that dying pigeon was also not so terrified or something. Although he couldn't move and something, but he knew that he was going to pass away. And next day he passed away.
So this also shows that the need for attention or the need that somebody gives you any acclamation of your existence is also not intrinsic to us.
No, not intrinsic, not at all.
So what we take is that basically that so this doubt of whether we exist or not is not as intrinsic to us.
Listen, whatever disease you have, is a net. One disease is related to the other disease. Attention is related to ambition. Ambition is related to incompleteness, and all these things.
Everything is connected.
This whole thing is connected.
Yes.
You have to start from somewhere to unravel this net. This whole thing must be, you have to cut it from somewhere. I feel one must cut it from the beginning, from where it all began.
That is what I'm trying to find. And I found that everything starts with the fact that we doubt our own existence. So when we go out, then every disease catches you because every act that we do, be it ambition, be it anger, be it any emotion, be it any kind of expression, is just to gain some attention. Otherwise, why would you express? But if
See, there are these 5-6 things that you are naming. Instead of fighting them independently, fight the mother evil.
so that is what I'm pointing out, that the mother evil is that attention is needed. That is why all these things.
The mother evil is the one who gave you this concept that attention is important.
Yes. Okay.
And then you have to move to the mother of the mother, the mother of the mother, the mother, and then reach that place where it all started. That is where, mankind took a wrong turn. And that does not mean thinking. That does not mean going back into the past and thinking what that man might have been doing and all that. No.
This is what it just came. The whole time I was blank, but right now it just came that if attention is not intrinsic to our nature.
It is intrinsic, beta. There is no way it is not intrinsic. Whenever you will impose any limit upon the mind, that will go against the mind's intrinsic nature of freedom. Do not impose any limit on the mind. You have to be so damn prepared to break the highest place of worship. You have to be prepared to jump into the deepest taboos. And once you have conquered that front, then the small challenges are no challenges. Then you will brush them aside. Are you getting it?
So the field of consciousness that
When I say keep observing facts, when I say that suffering is not fragmented, it is always there. Sometimes you call it suffering, sometimes you don't call it suffering. What are we saying? By observing, what will we come to know? We'll only come to know that all is rotten. Why am I saying that you must observe and come to see? When you see that all is rotten and there is no hope, then you have to really revolt in a big way. Then you cannot depend on anything. Then you cannot want to protect anything. Then you have to challenge even that which appears unchallengeable right now. Where will you hide? Whenever you will really look at something, you will only see imperfection. Either you become okay with imperfection, which is like embracing mediocrity, or you close your eyes.
which is not possible now.
So then you have to really say that
But there's something which freezes because this is the choice, or maybe this is the crossroad that it seems that I'm standing at, that now there is no way to go back, but the way ahead is so, I don't know if it's
the way ahead is a wall. You will have to climb over that wall or destroy that wall.
but it seems that I won't be. It will destroy me.
The wall doesn't destroy, it just keeps you blocked and you can be safe in the shadow of the wall, sleep there. And
So this is
Most
also
people-
just an illusion. This is
most people do that. When confronted with a wall, most people just make that wall their home. They decorate that wall and become a wall hanging.
But you remind every day that that's not your house. So
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
I am your misery. I remind you every day that,
yes,
but most people don't have this misery, so
Observation is always subjective. How can you reach to a certain conclusion about by observing anything?
How did you conclude this, that observation is always subjective? If no conclusion can be reached, from where does this conclusion come, that observation is always subjective?
It is so that because
From where did it come?
if you are observing anything, maybe mind or anything,
Sir, we do not know anything. But we have now come to a conclusion that observation is subjective. From where did we learn this?
question to learning
From where did we come to know of this?
by observing.
So observation helps. Even to know that observation is subjective, you will observe. And then you will always see that it is subjective, hence imperfect. That is what I am saying. Keep observing so that you can only see imperfection all around.
Also, the nature of mind is not unique for all.
It is common for all, not unique.
Not common.
Common. Yes, not common in the sense that the common nature cannot be given a name. Yet it is a common nature.
One phrase, munde mate vinna.
Huh.
In every person,
The stuff of mind is different for all.
yes,
And that difference is the difference, people.
yes,
The stuff of mind is different for all, not the nature of mind. Not the nature of mind. What is the nature of mind? Elimination of the stuff of mind is the nature of mind. What you put in empty space is different for different containers. Those different containers are called different people. But empty space is not different for different people. That emptiness is the nature of mind. And that comes when all that was there in the container, including the container itself, is gone.